So how do you discipline yourself? I got 7 ways for you. Number 1, it all starts with turning your life into a mission. You need to feel like your life is a hero's journey. This is very important because when I was 16 years old and I was playing video games all day, I wasn't connected to the part of my soul that wanted to feel like I was a hero on a journey, like I had a quest, like I was a warrior that was on a mission to grow myself, to strive after something noble, a noble cause that would help all of humanity. I was disconnected from that when I was 16, so all I did was just chase after pleasure. I think there was a quote that said, "If a man has no purpose in his life, he just distracts himself with pleasure." And that's exactly what I was doing. And honestly, it's so beautiful and so spiritual to feel like you are a hero on a journey. You are connected to life. You're striving to grow yourself. You're overcoming challenges. You're overcoming obstacles. You have a vision for what you want your life to be. And it's an extraordinary vision. It's not a simple mundane vision like, oh yeah, I would just love a comfortable, cushy job and a wife that doesn't bother me too much and some kids that do pretty well in school, and I just like to live a comfortable life and not be bothered by people. That's a mediocre, mundane vision, and that leads to deep suffering in your heart because your soul longs for actualization of your infinite potential. As a human being, you're like a fragment of God. And God is the infinitely loving and intelligent creator of the universe. Not only are you a fragment of God, but you actually are God. You're the whole of God. This is a tangent, but we're going to do it. If you count to infinity, you have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to infinity. And you might think, okay, so 1 is a part of infinity. 2, 3, 4, those are all parts of infinity. So you might think, okay, so I'm like the number 1, and then the whole universe is infinity. But did you know that all of infinity is actually encapsulated within the number 1? If you look at the space between 1 and 2, there is an infinite amount of decimal points. There's 0.01. There's 0.0001, 0.2, 0.3, and you can split up the space between 1 and 2 an infinite amount of times. So the whole of infinity is within the number 1. So not only are you a part of God, but you're also the whole of God simultaneously. And that was a tangent just to demonstrate that infinity longs to express its potential through you. And if you're not growing yourself and striving to express that potential, to build your skills and to hone your passion and your connection to life, if you're not honing your consciousness, then God feels like it's not able to express its full glory. And it's like a feeling of like something's being repressed. Something isn't being fully expressed. It's like when you have a deep emotion that you're not communicating with your girlfriend or with your parents, and it just kind of festers and rots inside of you, and it creates all kinds of toxic dysfunctions. That's exactly what happens in your life if you're not striving to grow yourself towards your potentials. So now that we feel like our life is a profound spiritual mission, the second way to improve your discipline is to actually show up every single day to grow yourself. Because if you want to live an extraordinary life, then all you have to do is just live a bunch of extraordinary years. You got to string together a bunch of extraordinary months. And in order to do that, you need to string together a bunch of extraordinary weeks. And to do that, you need to combine a bunch of extraordinary days. And that's what it means to live an extraordinary life, is just to live a series of extraordinary days. So every single day you are born again. That's what the Buddha said. Make each day count, because you're literally born fresh every single day. And if you want to win the day, you want to live the best possible, most extraordinary day as if it was your last day on earth, what I personally do is I attack the day first thing in the morning by waking up at 5. And many people might say, okay, Adam, that's a little bit extreme, 5 a.m., holy fuck, that's like, I don't think that's too early for me. I don't know if I'll be able to do that. Yeah, so guys, I thought that way too, but the reason why I wake up at 5 isn't because I love waking up early, which I do, but I wasn't always like that. I actually had to transform myself into someone who enjoys waking up early. And the reason why I like it so much is because it's extreme. I like the fact that waking up at 5 is uncomfortable, that it's extreme. First thing I do when I wake up at 5 in the morning is I work out for 20 minutes and I sweat. I do burpees, or I do rocket jumps, or I do a bunch of push-ups, or I go for a run in the freezing cold outside. I like that because it connects me to my life. It reminds me that I'm a fucking warrior. I'm not a docile sheep that just wants to be safe and comfortable in my little bubble of comfort. I'm a fucking warrior. And first thing in the morning, I remind myself of that. And I feel like I'm a warrior on a mission when I wake up at 5 in the morning. It gives me a certain confidence. It gives me an edge. And that edge is so important. It gives me a kind of killer instinct. It's almost like a spiritual thing. This is the spiritual side of the masculine energy. And it's key. It's essential for building yourself into a world-class leader and to becoming the top of your field and actualizing your full potential. So having a solid, strict morning routine is the best way to build your discipline, the number one way to build your discipline. There's no better way than having a strict morning routine. My morning routine is I wake up at 5, I put my alarm on the other side of the room so that I'm forced to get out of bed to turn it off. I jump out of bed, turn it off. I'm already wearing my workout clothes because I sleep in them. I work out for 20 minutes, I sweat. Then after I meditate for 20 minutes, and then I read a book for 20 minutes. Then I take a warm shower because it's freezing cold. Maybe in the summer I'll take a cold shower. And I brush my teeth, and then by 7 a.m., I am ready to get into 90 minutes of creative work where the collective consciousness is quiet. Nobody else is up except me. Everyone else is still in bed, and I'm focused, laser focused on doing my creative work. So that brings us into number 3 for how to discipline yourself, is to schedule your day. So when you wake up nice and early, give yourself 5 minutes to just write down what exactly you're going to do that day, hour for hour. The best way to schedule your day is to block time chunks of 1-hour periods of focus with 15-minute breaks in between. So my first time chunk in the day starts at 7 a.m. And that's my creativity period where I work on a video or I work on a coaching program or I read and I take notes and I just kind of do my creative work, which for me is brainstorming ideas about self actualization. That's my creativity. For you, it could be writing music, it could be painting, it could be sculpting, it could be dancing. But in that first period, you're at your most creative, your mind is fresh and clear. That's the best time for you to do creative work for 90 minutes. And then I take a 20-minute break, go for a walk outside, get some sun. And then I do another hour of focused work. And then I take a 15-minute break again. And then I do another hour. And then I just chunk up my day into hour time blocks until 3 or 4 p.m. when I sign out of work. And then for the rest of the day, I just rest and relax. So number 4, how to discipline yourself is to practice focusing without distraction. So during my time blocks, I make sure that, first of all, my environment is clean and organized. Cleanliness and organization is something I learned in Army Cadet Camp. We would wake up at 5, we'd wake up I think at 5 or 6 in the morning to the sound of a trumpet. It was like the the trumpet sound would wake you up and you'd have to get right out of bed. And first thing I would have to do is to make my bed spick and span. Like literally my bed sheets had to be, there couldn't be one wrinkle on my bed sheets. They had to be tight. Like they literally said you should be able to stand a dime on its edge on your bed. That's how tight it had to be. It had to have hospital corners tucked in pristinely at the perfect angle. The cadet camp that I was in was called Drill and Ceremonial, which is even more disciplined because it's about drill and ceremony, and we would nickname it dusting and cleaning, because D and C, drill and ceremonial, or we would make fun and we would say we're really in dusting and cleaning, because we spent weeks literally just cleaning, because every 6 hours or so they would literally come and inspect our tent to see if it was clean. The inspectors would literally go on top of the lockers and they would run their finger along it just to see if there's any dust. And if there was any dust at all, we would all be punished. There was this one guy that was such a good duster that he would literally like stand on, we would boost him up so that he could dust like on top of the ceiling fan. And the inspector was always so surprised when he would look in like really weird, hard to reach places that there's gonna be dust, and then he would put his finger there and he would be like, and then he would say, oh fuck, there's no dust, you guys are good. So we just took a lot of pride in keeping our area clean and organized, and I think that's very important for you in your life as well. Keep everything spick and span, neat and tidy. Your computer as well needs to be clean. No icons on your desktop. Everything is organized and just no distractions, basically. A secret tip that you can do actually is if you have an ad block on your computer, what you can do is you can actually block your YouTube feed. And I know this is like kind of a self-destructive thing to recommend because I'm a YouTuber, but if you don't like being distracted by YouTube and maybe you have a business account, you can have an entertainment account and a business account. On your business account, you can use ad block to actually block your YouTube feed. You can look into how to do that yourself, but it's been very helpful for me to just avoid distraction, because I work on YouTube, and whenever I open YouTube, I'm seeing all these videos recommended to me. So I just completely blocked my feed, and now I don't see any videos recommended to me. But if I do want to watch YouTube, I'll go on my entertainment account. So focus is very important. Focus is basically just no distraction. So if you're not distracting yourself, you're focusing. And it's important to understand that your attention is more powerful when it is single pointed. It's like the sunbeams that are being shown through a magnifying glass. When you shine the sun through a magnifying glass, I hope you've done this at some point in your life, you can focus the beams into like a single point, to the point where it actually burns holes in paper or in the grass. When I was a kid, I would try burning ants to see, just, I don't know, it's just kind of fun. So your focus is the same way. If you take it and laser and get all of it into one single point, it can burn a hole through whatever you're working on. And that's how you create massive value in society, by doing deep, focused work, which Cal Newport has a great book called Deep Work about that exact topic. All right. Also, just another point on focus. Whenever you're like checking social media, or like you're focused doing something, and then halfway through your focus, you turn on your phone and you check your email, for example, that disrupts your focus and it leaves a tension residue. Every single time you distract yourself with something, you're leaving a part of your focus power, you're leaving a part of your focus attention on the screen that you focused on. So if I just checked my email, I'm leaving a part of my focus potential in my email inbox. And every single time you check something, you're leaving more and more of your focus potential on the screen. And over time that compounds and it ruins your momentum. Great focus requires momentum and isolation as well. So that's very important. Give yourself a tight bubble, a sphere where nobody's going to bother you, where you can just be alone and you can focus on what's most important to you. All right, so the fifth way to discipline yourself is no free dopamine. I touched on this in the beginning of the video. Our society has all kinds of ways to stimulate us for free without having to do any work. And dopamine is the motivation neurochemical. And the more we give ourselves free dopamine by scrolling on social media or eating processed sugar or watching porn or gambling, then we're actually numbing our dopamine receptors in our brain because we're overstimulating them. It's like drug addicts who are addicted to crack, for example. They can't even gain happiness from simple things. They need crack in order to make them happy. I felt like that when I was addicted to League of Legends. I felt like simple things like walking through the park wouldn't make me happy. I would need more and more stimulus. The same phenomenon happens with porn, where when I was a kid, I know this is going to be a graphic example, but when I was a kid, I started with like softcore porn, where it was like written, it was like a story, like there was no visuals, it was just like a story on the internet. But then as I kind of started exploring, it's gradually got more and more intense and more hardcore, until I was looking at stuff like that was like BDSM or whatever it is, and I was like, what the fuck am I don't even like this. Like, what, this is fucked. Like, why am I here right now? And there's this phenomenon of like increasing you need more to get you off, basically. And it's the same with drugs, it's the same with food, it's the same with anything. So what we're going to do is we're going to intentionally go in the opposite direction, and we're going to have less. And this actually helps to kind of cleanse your brain of dopamine. You're probably going to go through withdrawal for the first week or two, but over time, you're just going to feel like much more grounded, happy, and sober person, where you can gain deep satisfaction from actual things that you're doing to improve your life. So if you really think about it, you shouldn't be getting dopamine from your phone, or you should be getting dopamine from things that actually move you forward in your life, like working on your business, going out and meeting people to date them or just to meet new people, having actual sex with actual humans, watching yourself grow, reading a difficult book, doing your craft that you're passionate about, improving yourself, learning new things. That's where you should be getting your dopamine from. And it's more satisfying and fulfilling and sustainable when you do it that way. Exercising as well. All right, so the sixth way to improve your discipline is to make sure that you give yourself periods to rest and relax. So after you've done your work for the day, maybe around 4 p.m., let's say, now it's time to switch off of work mode. So, okay, I'm done my work. Now I need to completely stop thinking about work and just give my brain some time to regenerate and recharge. This is how we need to balance the yin and yang of life. The yin is about receiving and resting and surrendering to life. The yang is the more masculine, which is about going out there and penetrating life and doing things and accomplishing things. The feminine and the masculine are within every single human and are within every single aspect of reality. And we need to balance yin and yang. This is the middle way. So just the way you structure your day, it's important. I like to work in the morning and then rest in the evening. And that ensures that I don't burn out so that I can stay consistent over the long term. The sixth way, the last way to improve your discipline is to have a strict nighttime routine. So since I've been waking up at 5 a.m., I've had to start going to bed at like 8:45 or 9 to make sure that I get at least 7.5 hours of sleep. Because 7.5 hours is the optimal amount of sleep for most people, I think, because your brain goes through 90-minute sleep cycles as you're sleeping, and studies have shown that your brain needs at least 5 full sleep cycles to fully cleanse itself of all of the stress and anxiety that you've accumulated throughout the day. So your brain needs 5 full sleep cycles to totally cleanse itself and to feel fully rested and regenerated for the next day. So if you want peak optimal performance, you can't shirk your sleep. You're going to have a much more difficult time being disciplined if you're low on sleep. So make sure you have a good night routine, which involves 1 hour or 2 hours before bed, no more screens. What I like to do at night is go for a walk, meditate a little bit, journal, have a tea, make sure my lights are warm lights. What I like to use is red light. Actually, you can buy red lights online, but it's not necessary. But red light at night is very relaxing. I read a little bit, and then I make sure my room is dark. I have a sleep mask that covers my eyes, and then I go to sleep. And I make sure that I'm in bed at the same time every single night. So make sure that you say no to things that would fuck up your sleep schedule. So for example, if your friends are asking you to hang out and it's like 8 p.m. and you know you need to be in bed by 9, discipline yourself and say, no, I don't want to come hang out with you guys and waste my time because I have a mission to accomplish. My life is going somewhere. I have a vision, and that vision will make me happier than one night of hanging out with my friends. So that's important. All right, guys, those were the 7 ways to discipline yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. Discipline is so important, and it's something that I talk about a lot in my new mastermind, which is launching on December 29th, which is called the Full-Time Passion Mastermind. If you're someone that is really serious about discovering what you're passionate about, what you're most passionate about, and turning that into full-time income, then this mastermind that's going to be launching on the 29th is going to be something that you're going to want to keep your eyes out for. This is really, in my opinion, what self-actualization is all about, is discovering my soul's deepest passion and packaging it up in a way that offers genuine value and contributes to society so powerfully and makes such a deep impact that the value comes back to me in the form of money. So the program, when it launches on the 29th, there's going to be a member cap. I can only work with so many people at once. So click that link in the description to join the waiting list so that you're one of the first to know when it launches. And otherwise, subscribe to the channel. I make new videos about self-actualization and spiritual growth every single Sunday. This is a long-term journey for me. Come along with me for the ride if you're interested in reaching the highest levels of human development and really being the best version of yourself. Check out this video here that talks about how to find the middle way in your life. It'll help you implement a lot of the stuff we talked about today. So check that out, and otherwise I'll see you in the next video. So how do you actually follow the middle way in your life? Well, I got 4 ways